Hello everyone, and welcome to Focus Weekly for the module of International Relations and Internal Security. The topics we are going to discuss today, though much is not there in the news to discuss from the module of IR and Internal Security, but still, the things which were in the news, which can be important for our exam point of view, is the dynamics of India-Qatar ties, and in this context, the ties have reached to the level of strategic partnership. So, from exam point of view, let's try to understand what strategic partnership means and what can be other types of partnerships we can have with the countries. Other is US change of stance on Ukraine-Russia war has brought a shock for the leadership of Ukraine and for Europeans. And in that context, the NATO as an organization is in the news. Expected question for this year pre. There can be a question on NATO regarding its history and what exactly it is. And in this context, I'll try to tell you that NATO is the outcome of the concept of collective defense. What exactly this collective defense means and how it is different from the concept of collective security. Okay. So these things are in the news. And second is the issue in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, the rebel group, can be asked by UPSC in your pre-exam. Let's take our discussion first on India-Qatar. They elevate their ties to strategic partnership. Now, first thing to understand is who are strategic partners. So rather than what exactly we are going to do with this thing is more important to understand whom we can consider as strategic partners. Now, there can be three types of partners. States can form three types of partnership with the other countries. There can be three types of partners, that is natural allies, strategic partners, and there's a third term called less, it's always less in the newspapers, is tactical partnership. Now, what is the ground, on what ground we are going to separate these three from each other? Now, if we have to consider US, where we're going to put US as a partner of ours? US is an ally, strategic or tactical. Russia is an ally, strategic or tactical. Israel is an ally, strategic or tactical. What we think Pakistan is, right? So natural allies are those countries with whom we share common values. These can be political values, okay, economic values, and the cultural values, way of life. So if we go by the definition that those countries with whom we share common values, like political values, those countries who have democracy as the political system will qualify to be as our allies. So when after independence, India declared itself as a democratic country, West saw India as a natural ally. In fact, US also saw India as a natural ally. Okay, the oldest democracy and the biggest democracy. So based on the values, based on the political value, West is a natural ally. Israel also, well, after the creation of Israel, Israel also opted for the secular democracy. This makes Israel also a natural ally of ours, right? Now, during Cold War, India's alignment, India was pursuing more of socialist economic policy, and we were in the Soviet sphere of influence. That's why India aligned more with Soviet. This brought drift between US, West, and India. So it does not mean if you are allies, there cannot be tensions between the two. On paper, Pakistan shares same values with us. Okay, so on paper, Pakistan is an ally. Nepal is an ally because we share same way of life, common culture. Immediate neighborhood, in general, qualifies to be a natural ally of ours. But if we see at present, Nepal is aligning with China. Okay, so ally There can be tensions between allies. Allies can come closer as partners. Okay. Now, partnership can be of two types, strategic partnership and tactical partnership. So when it is the long-term partnership, to achieve some common goals and with the objective to mitigate the common threat, the common enemy, then it is seen as the strategic partnership. Okay. Tactical partnership is also the alignment to mitigate common threat. But then what separates these two? Both are being formed and forged to mitigate common threat, but it is for short-term goal. Okay. A tactical partnership is to fulfill some immediate specific needs. Okay, so when there are some specific, under some specific urgency, tactical partnership will evolve. Strategic is a long-term partnership with common goal. Okay. Now, the other main thing which separates strategic from tactical is here, there is the commitment to mutual benefits. In tactical, there is no such commitment for mutual benefit. It is just a short-term alignment to counter some adversary, some common enemy, and focus is on fulfilling some immediate needs. Here, there is a commitment for long-term mutual benefits. Tactical can be alignment in one sphere. Okay, strategic is alignment in all the spheres. When you have political engagement in the field of nuclear technology, in the field of space sector, in the field of defense, in the field of science and technology, when you have alignment in all spheres, then it becomes strategic partnership. One of the best example which we can give to differentiate the strategic from tactical is during Second World War, US, UK, France. One side, they are allies, natural allies. Why? Because they were having the common value system, parliamentary democracy. They forged a strategic partnership to counter fascism. And they forged a tactical partnership with Soviet. It was a tactical partnership for the time being because there were deep-seated tensions between these countries. And the Western world was well aware, once fascism will be defeated, tensions are bound to emerge with Soviet. And this is what we saw during Cold War. So their alignment during Second World War was a tactical partnership. Their alignment was strategic partnership. In the present times, we can say that India and US, now they are allies, and India and US are coming closer as strategic partner because it's a long-term, they are forging a long-term partnership in almost every sphere, having some shared goals to achieve, and they have a commitment for mutual benefit. So what name we can give to the Quad grouping? Okay, it is not a military alliance yet. When US proposed Quad, US proposed it as an alliance of democracy. Japan was ready to see Quad as a military alliance under its FOIP strategy, free and open Indo-Pacific. But India was seeing Quad as an economic alliance. But after Galwan clash, India agreed to embrace Quad as a strategic alliance. So what Quad is? Quad is a strategic partnership of natural allies because all share common values of democracy. So it's a strategic partnership of natural allies. So I hope you are clear what strategic partnership means and where is a thin line difference between strategic and tactical partnership. What to know from pre point of view? Qatar is where? In which Gulf? It shares borders with whom? Saudi. Okay, capital Doha. This new forged partnership brings it on par with Oman, Kuwait, clearly reflects India's rising reach to this region under its Look West policy. Okay. Rest all are the rest all are the factual things. Okay. Nothing important from exam point of view. More important is the understanding of the concept, which I have already explained. Now, the second topic is shift in US position on Ukraine and NATO. So we have seen the flip-flop from the US side on Russia's invasion in Ukraine. So first thing, what Donald Trump has said that he has dismissed the idea of Ukraine joining NATO. He has said it is impractical. It clearly marks a major shift in US foreign policy. In one of the earlier video lecture or in podcast, when Trump took over the oath, I clearly said that this time Trump will try to pressurize Ukraine to cede some of the territory to Russia, and Trump will try to end the war in Ukraine by appeasing Putin because Trump wants to bring a wedge between China and Russia, and Trump wants to end their no limit partnership because US main challenge is coming from China. And exactly on these predictions, we can see Trump is pursuing its foreign policy. So what Trump wanted is that since the Russia-Ukraine war, Russia's dependency on China has increased. The leaders of both countries announced no limit partnership to Russia and China. But history says that Russia and Chinese leaders are never able to engage with each other for a long time because of the Sino-Russian tensions are perpetual. Also, Arthashastra, Kautilya says neighbors can't be friends and both share boundary with each other. And there we have seen Russia-Sino rivalry. Okay. It was in 70s, US leadership realized that they are under the myth of this aspect that communism is a monolithic entity. And as if Soviet and the Chinese leaders are brother in arms and there cannot be tensions. So 70 around, US realized that we can bring China to our side to defeat Soviet at that time. And it was Pakistan who played the role of a mediator. Also, Chinese leadership was ready for market reforms. So around 80s, they brought the reforms and turned towards a capitalist economy. So US at that time brought China closer to counter Soviet. And this time, US wants to bring Russia closer by appeasing Russia to have some of the territory of Ukraine, pressurize Ukraine to fulfill the demands of the Russia because right now US wants to counter China and Trump wants to focus entirely in the Asia Pacific region. On these lines right now, President Trump is pursuing its policy. Okay. So this is the reason why first thing he has denied idea of Ukraine joining NATO as impractical. Okay, clearly ended this fear among the Russian leadership that NATO can have its military presence exactly on the western borders of Russia or along the Eastern Europe. As for Putin, presence of NATO in Ukraine is crossing red line and will never be tolerated. Okay. Second, he has directly discussed with the President Putin not bringing Ukrainian leadership on board. Okay, so it's a clear appeasement for Russia. Now, what NATO is? First thing to remember, it's the 32-member military alliance based on collective defense. So important is to understand the concept of collective defense. Under this, attack on one will be seen as attack on all. And I just said Quad is not a military alliance. It's a strategic partnership of allies. Okay. Because India, under its foreign policy, is committed that India will not join military alliances because India stands to strengthen the system of collective security, and our leadership do not believe in collective defense. This was the stand of the Nehru. Attaining peace through collective defense will be a nervous state of peace, and the need is to strengthen collective security. What is the difference? We'll tell you. Okay. So NATO's expansion brought NATO close to Russian border, which according to Russia is a clear threat and challenge to our integrity, sovereignty. So the potential inclusion of Ukraine in NATO became the reason for Russia's military action in Ukraine. Okay, so here NATO is a direct threat to Russian integrity, sovereignty. So when NATO was created, there were only 12 countries created in 1949 after the end of Second World War. Assurances given to Russia, Soviet leadership, that NATO will never expand eastward before its then existing boundaries. That will never going to push NATO towards the western border of Russia. However, no assurances, the assurances which were given were never kept, and NATO was expanding, and this was seen as a betrayal by the Russian leadership. So first expansion 99, you do not have to cram. Then important is to know that 23 Finland joined and 24 Sweden joined, and now there are 32 member countries. Okay. So with each expansion, NATO moved closer to Russian borders. Okay. So what Russia sees is a clear violation of its past agreement. Right. So NATO's membership, if Ukraine would have acquired the NATO's membership, this is not tolerable to Russia, became the reason for its military action. Okay, first is it was in 2008, US proposed the NATO's membership. Bucharest summit, a vague promise. This became one of the reasons for the annexation of Crimea in 2014. Important region for Russia's naval security, and became the reason for its military action in Ukraine. Now, US under Biden administration, after a lot of flip-flop, agreed to send weapons and supported Ukrainians in their war against Russia, but never allowed the NATO's military action against Russia. Okay. However, now Trump has clearly said that will never going to include Ukraine in NATO, clearly seen as Trump wants to bring this war to an end, ready to normalize ties with Russia. Focus should be on China and in the Asia Pacific region. Now, let me tell you what exactly this concept of collective defense is. Okay. Now, there are few theories in this subject. Now, according to realist scholars, states or the countries in the world pursue their foreign policies and they want to maintain balance of power. And according to realists, if this balance of power between the states will disturb, war will take place. So for realists, what led to Second World War? Failure of balance of power. States failed to maintain balance of power. Till the time if balance of power will keep prevailing, states will not fight war. Now, traditional way to maintain balance of power is arms race, military alliances. But after the end of Second World War, with the emergence of nuclear deterrence, deterrence has become the way to maintain balance of power. But according to the critics, we should not use the term balance of power for it. We should use balance of terror. So this is such a threatening way to maintain balance of power that we should use the term balance of terror. So realist way forward for world peace, only way to maintain wars is to maintain balance of power. State should maintain that. And outcome of this concept is collective defense. That collective defense can also be one of the way to maintain balance of power. Okay. That collectively we need to maintain our defense. Attack on one will be seen as attack on all, and military alliances in the world is the outcome of concept of collective defense, like NATO during the Cold War, CENTO, CR2. So we can say institutionalization of the concept of balance of power is collective defense, and military alliances is the outcome of that. These days, AUKUS. Okay. And during Cold War, Soviet created Warsaw Pact. Okay. Indian leadership stands for the concept of collective security. And it is the liberals who suggested way forward for world peace should not be through collective defense, it should be through collective security. And first initiative for collective security was taken under the League of Nations. So League of Nations was the first step which was taken to ensure collective security. But we all know multiple reasons which led to the failure of the League of Nations. And after the end of Second World War, UN was taken as another step to ensure collective security. So if anywhere, any country tries to undermine the sovereignty and integrity of the state, UNSC given the power to ensure peace. And UNSC can take a military action under a collective security resolution. So when Iraq invaded Kuwait, at that time, UNSC decided to pass a collective security resolution, and collectively the militaries of more than 30 countries, they took a military action against the government of Iraq. So collective security, ensuring security through collective security is the responsibility of UNSC. But the challenge is UNSC cannot take an action against the P5. This is one of the criticism of UNSC. And you can clearly see till date, countries in the world are not ready to rely UN for their security. They want to rely on the concept of balance of power by going for arms race, military alliances. So balance of power as a concept is still strongly intact in world politics, and collective security is weak. So liberals believe in strengthening collective security, but realists believe in balance of power and collective defense through military alliances. So these are the two different concepts altogether. I hope you would have been able to understand the difference between these two concepts. So collective security we provide through UNSC. Okay. So what can be the differences between collective security and collective defense? Collective security is universal concept. Collective defense is local or regional. It is armed intervention by UN. Okay, as per the principles of collective security. So it is Armed intervention by military alliance like NATO, where attack on one will be seen as attack on all. Here, enemy is not identified. Here, enemy is already known. That's why against the enemy, that military alliance will going to be created. Here, membership is universal. Here, membership is narrow. Not everyone will not be allowed to be a part of that military alliance. Okay, na? Collective security is based on the ideas of liberal. Collective defense is based on the idea of realist. Clear? So what is NATO and military alliances? And it will be too early to jump to this conclusion. What is a military alliance? It is not yet. It's a strategic partnership. Clear? Third is in the news. I've seen questions coming in your pre-exams. You should be knowing about M23 militia. Captured city of Goma. Where it lies? DRC. Three things you should be well aware of. Militia group M23 Goma. Now, M23 militia composed of Tutsis, backed by Rwanda. ठीक, ये पता होना चाहिए that it's a group of Tutsis. Here it is Rwanda, here it is DRC and M23. Okay, militia, ethnic militia group of Tutsis. Basically, ethnic conflict rooted in Hutu-Tutsi tensions. So, are two ethnic groups. Okay. Nothing more is required. The background history is not required. Only thing is M23 militia group has occupied the city of Goma in DRC, eastern bordering Rwanda, and it's a group of Tutsis. Okay. Use violence against Hutu. Okay. This is the historical background. I personally don't think so. You need to go in. You can read this. Otherwise, there is no need to know or dig deep into the history of this particular issue. So these things which I've told are very important from your exam point of view, the concepts. Okay, I hope this video will help you to understand the nuances of world affairs and world politics. We'll keep discussing things in future, whatever will be relevant and important. Bye, best of luck, take care.